Hello, Federal viewers. Syria has in the past 10 days seen dramatic developments. President Bashar al Assad has been ousted from power after a 13-year civil war that froze a few years ago. What caused this sudden shift in Syria? What does it mean for the region and for the country? To decode this, we have with us the Federal's managing editor, KS Dakshina Murthy, who tracks international developments closely. Firstly, how did this sudden development happen in Syria?
Um, all these developments leading up to Bashar al-Assad's ouster occurred just in the last 10 days. Um, what happened was that this entire civil war that began, in 2011 after an uprising, and then and violence that followed. Uh, it traversed through many situations, and eventually the intervention of Russia and Iran brought about some kind of freeze on the situation in Syria, and Bashar al-Assad survived despite all the opposition, the armed opposition against him. Now, this was the situation. This has been the situation for the last close to about 6 years now. And post this, people had in fact given up Syria as a lost cause in some ways. And Bashar al-Assad was also considered to be safe and stable. But the developments of the last 10 days have shown that behind the scenes, the opposition was working, and especially the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or the HTS, an Islamist group headed by Abu Muhammad al-Julani, who was with the Islamic State and a close confidant of al-Baghdadi, the founder of Islamic State. He was in Syria, and he has worked very quietly for the last few years from his base in Idlib, in the northern part of Syria. So, one also needs to look at the changing situation where Israel has now managed to neutralize Hezbollah in Lebanon, and also take on Iran. Now, Hezbollah and Iran were one of the biggest supporters of Bashar al-Assad, and Russia was the other big supporter. So these three these three entities ensured Bashar al-Assad's survival. But now Russia is caught up in the war in Ukraine. So it was an opportune moment for Israel and the US to move in, and there has been some kind of a tacit support for the HTS and al-Julani, despite the fact that they are Islamists, right? And Islamists, and they have in the past, fought with both the US and other Western nations. But in a larger strategic sense, Bashar al-Assad was a bigger enemy for the US and Israel, and they got this opportunity, and they have managed to quietly help al-Julani with the help of Turkey. And these have got together, and they have armed them, and there was a sudden push from the north. So the HTS in the last 10 days first dramatically captured Aleppo, then went to Hama, then to Homs, and finally to Damascus just this morning. And the latest news is that Bashar al-Assad has fled the country, though it has not yet been confirmed. But from all the looks of it, it looks like Bashar al-Assad has fled the country.
So, sir, what implications does this rise of Islamists to power hold for Syria's governance and its people?
So the entry of an Islamist group like the HTS is a cause for, has sent some kind of alarm bells across the region. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, Iran, and even Turkey, and Russia have called it a dangerous development, and they've asked for some kind of a political solution. The reason for that is because the HTS, though it's a milder form of the of Al Qaeda or the Islamic State, it still poses some kind of a threat for Syria's stability, because Syria under Bashar al-Assad was a secular state, and the secular sections within Syria are pretty formidable. Plus, the HTS has shown a proclivity for being pro-Sunni. So though in the past, Al-Julani has warned the Shia, India has also warned Israel and US. In recent times, he has scaled down his rhetoric. So he's now saying that he's not against the Shia. He just wants Shia to modify some of their practices in Islam. And he says that his intention was only to reach Damascus and overthrow Bashar al-Assad. He's not against the US and Israel. But still, the very fact that he is now in power, there is a kind of a transition period right now. The Prime Minister under Bashar al-Assad has been entrusted with the job of doing this transition. So, and Al-Julani has asked his fighters to respect the Prime Minister and the other institutions of state, and to not to create any problems or violence against the citizens. And so it is a kind of a very fluid situation. We really don't know which way it will head and who is going to support whom eventually.
Do you think this Islamist leadership will bring back peace to Syria, or it could lead to further conflict?
Yes, as far as the civil war is concerned, one big target of the rebels has been achieved, which is the ouster or the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad. But now there are a lot of, so this is a good news for the thousands of Syrian refugees who fled Syria post 2014 and who fled to Europe. Many fled to neighboring countries. Already reports have appeared that they are now gathered on the borders of Syria. They want to come back into Syria. They want to rebuild their lost homes, properties, rebuild there and bring together the families that were scattered all over the world. And so in that sense, there seems to be a kind of a very popular response or a positive response to the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad. Now, whether this will translate into lasting peace or stability will entirely depend on the HTS and its leader Abu Muhammad al-Julani. If there is any kind of a sectarian slant to the administration, then it is going to create problems. But if it turns out to be an inclusive government, well, we can say that peace will return, because the people also want peace to return.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you.